3 in the morning, January 4th, 2026. A column of smoke rises hundreds of feet into the frozen sky above Lipetsk, Russia. The glow beneath it pulses orange and white, the unmistakable signature of a chemical fire burning completely out of control. Russian authorities have just declared a red-level drone threat across the entire region. Emergency services are scrambling through the blizzard. Military frequencies are absolute chaos. And somewhere in the darkness, 15 miles away, a dusty civilian delivery truck sits abandoned on a secondary road. Its cargo bay doors hang open. Whatever was inside is already gone. This is the story of how Ukraine destroyed Russia's most critical battery factory, PJSC Energia, using a swarm of drones worth less than a new SUV, and how Moscow never saw it coming. To understand why this attack matters, you need to understand what the Energia plant actually produces. PJSC Energia, located in the city of Yelets in Russia's Lipetsk Oblast, is the gigafactory of Russia's military-industrial complex. This single facility is Russia's largest manufacturer of military-grade chemical power sources, producing sealed lead-acid batteries, nickel-cadmium cells, lithium-ion batteries, mercury-zinc elements, and electrochemical capacitors that power Moscow's most advanced weapons systems. The 9M723 Iskander-M ballistic missiles, the KH-47M2 Kinjal hypersonic missiles, the UMPK guidance kits that transform ordinary dumb bombs into precision-guided glide weapons, the KH-35U anti-ship cruise missiles, even Russia's sophisticated electronic warfare systems like the Krasuka and Moscow 1 jammers. Every single one of these weapons depends on batteries produced at this single location. Energia holds contracts with over 20 defense sector clients, the Russian Ministry of Defense, Roscosmos, the FSB, Gazprom, and major weapons manufacturers, including Kalashnikov Concern and NPO Splav. The company is the only factory in Russia producing batteries for UMPK guidance modules, those kits that have allowed Russia to devastate Ukrainian cities with cheap, accurate glide bombs. Russia knew this facility was critically valuable. That's why they built it 250 kilometers from the Ukrainian border, well beyond the reach of most conventional strike systems. They surrounded it with billions of dollars worth of layered air defense, Panzer S-1 systems, each one costing between $13 and $15 million on the export market, armed with 57 E-6 surface-to-air missiles capable of hitting targets at 20 kilometers and twin 2A-38 M-MAN 30mm autocannons firing 2,500 rounds per minute combined. Tor M1 batteries providing short-range intercept capability, overlapping phased array radar coverage capable of detecting targets with cross-sections as small as 1 square centimeter, electronic warfare suites designed to jam any incoming threat. On paper, this was an untouchable fortress. Ukraine had already tried to hit it 4 times, in May 2025, twice in July 2025, and again in early January 2026. 4 attempts, 4 failures. Russian air defense had intercepted every previous strike before anything got close. So Ukrainian planners went back to the drawing board, and they found a loophole. Hours before the attack, that dusty delivery truck pulled over on a rural road outside the city of Yelets. To any passing patrol, it looked completely ordinary. Potatoes, maybe. Knockoff electronics. The kind of unremarkable cargo that moves through Russian roads every single day. Inside the cargo bay, 4 Baba Yaga heavy-lift drones. Now, Baba Yaga isn't a single drone model. It's a category of heavy Ukrainian bomber drones that Russian soldiers named after the terrifying witch of Slavic folklore who flies through the night hunting children. These include variants like the Vampire, the Nemesis, and the newly codified Volyn-Yaka hexacopter. What they have in common, 6 or 8 rotors, derived from modified agricultural octocopters, equipped with infrared thermal imaging cameras for night operations, and the ability to carry serious payloads. Each Baba Yaga costs between $20,000 and $50,000. They can carry payloads up to 15 to 20 kilograms, enough for anti-tank mines, mortar rounds, or multiple smaller munitions. They can operate at ranges of 50 to 60 kilometers, and crucially, they can function as airborne signal relay stations, dramatically extending the range of smaller drones. Each of these 4 motherships was carrying 5 smaller first-person view attack drones tucked beneath its frame. These FPV drones are the real killers. Small quadcopters costing between $300 and $500 each. They fly at speeds up to 120 kilometers per hour. They carry warheads of 1 to 3 kilograms, typically RPG-7 rockets, shaped charges, or anti-tank grenades. And they're guided by pilots wearing specialized goggles, seeing exactly what the drone sees in real time, controlling every movement until the moment of impact. 4 motherships, 20 children, a coordinated swarm designed for redundancy and saturation. Total cost of the entire Ukrainian attack package, between $100,000 and $200,000. The target they were about to hit was worth hundreds of millions. Ukrainian intelligence had been watching the weather forecasts for weeks, and on the night of January 3rd, they saw exactly what they needed. A massive blizzard was screaming through the Lipetsk region, winds exceeding 40 miles per hour, visibility near zero, the kind of conditions that ground most aircraft and make radar operators assume nothing could possibly be flying. Russian defenders looked at those conditions and relaxed. Nothing flies in weather like this. Ukrainian planners looked at those same conditions and saw a free invisibility cloak. The howling wind would swallow the distinctive hum of the Baba Yaga's 6 rotors, that eerie sound Russian soldiers describe hearing in the night before the witch arrives. The driving snow would clutter Russian optical sensors and tracking systems. The chaos of the storm would mask the swarm's approach until it was far too late. The drones launched into the whiteout, flying just 60 feet off the frozen ground, below the effective tracking altitude of most radar systems. Their thermal imaging cameras didn't care about visibility. They could navigate perfectly, while Russian defenders could barely see their own hands in front of their faces. About an hour before the main attack reached the target, Russian air defense crews detected incoming threats. 4 targets, slow-moving, following predictable flight paths, classic drone signatures. The Pantsir S-1 crews engaged immediately. Their phased array radars, capable of tracking 20 targets simultaneously, locked on. The 57E-6 missiles, each one able to hit targets at ranges up to 20 kilometers, traveling over 1,000 meters per second, streaked into the night sky. One by one, the targets disappeared from radar. Russian crews celebrated on Telegram. Screenshots of successful intercepts flooded military channels. Congratulations everywhere. The threat had been neutralized. The sky was clear. What they'd actually shot down were 4 plywood gliders with lawnmower engines, cheap decoys designed to look like real threats on radar. Cost per decoy, roughly $500. Total value of destroyed decoys, about $2,000. Total value of 57E-6 missiles expended, several million. But the real damage wasn't financial, it was psychological. This was the genius of Ukrainian planning. They fed the Russian ego with loud, cheap, obvious targets. Let the defenders feel victorious. Let them relax. Let them assume the attack was over. While the real swarm, 4 Baba Yagas and 20 FPV drones, was already 5 miles from the factory gates, 5 miles from the Energia facility. The 4 Baba Yagas stopped their forward movement and climbed to 400 feet. The motherships weren't going to attack directly, not yet. Their job was to become high-altitude signal relay stations. Each one was loaded with directional antennae, anti-jamming circuitry, extra batteries, and onboard signal repeaters. This configuration can extend the range of cheap FPV drones from their typical 10 kilometers out to 30 or 40 kilometers, punching through electronic warfare jamming that would cripple ordinary drones. Within 60 seconds, 20 first-person view drones detached from their carriers and fanned out in 4 directions. 5 from the north, 5 from the south, 5 from the east, 5 from the west. This is called a saturation profile, and it's specifically designed to overwhelm air defense systems. Even the Pantsir S-1, with its ability to track 20 targets simultaneously, can only engage a limited number at once. When 20 small drones approach from 4 different directions at once, the math becomes impossible. It's like trying to catch 20 tennis balls thrown at your head at the same time. You might get some, you're not getting all of them. The first wave of 8 FPV drones had one job: kill the power grid. They dove straight for the main electrical substation outside the factory perimeter. Each drone carried a shaped charge capable of penetrating armored vehicles, more than enough to destroy civilian electrical infrastructure. The lead drone hit the primary transformer dead center. A blinding blue arc of 110,000 volts lit up the night like a second sunrise. The entire sector went pitch black. Perimeter lights died, heating systems cut out. Russian radar units lost primary power and had to wait for backup generators to spin up, a process that takes precious seconds. Inside the factory, where workers produce lithium-ion cells, nickel-cadmium batteries, and electrochemical capacitors for Russia's most advanced weapons, chaos erupted. Security teams sprinted through dark hallways, radios filled with static and overlapping voices, and in those critical moments of confusion, the rest of the swarm closed the distance. The Pantsir S-1 crews realized what was happening and opened fire, but they were shooting blind. The twin 2 A38M 30mm cannons, each capable of firing nearly 1,000 rounds per minute, sent tracer fire screaming into the darkness. The snow-filled sky lit up in wild patterns, but the thermal targeting screens were flooded with clutter from the burning substation. The small FPV drones, weighing less than 5 kilograms each, moving at over 100 kilometers per hour, were nearly impossible to track. One Panzer operator managed to get a solid lock. A 57E-6 surface-to-air missile streaked toward one of the hovering Baba Yagas. direct hit. The 55-kilogram mothership spiraled down in a fireball. Russian cannons also destroyed 6 or 7 of the smaller FPV drones. Debris scattered across the frozen fields. Moscow would later claim a major victory. According to the Russian Ministry of Defense, 41 Ukrainian drones were intercepted across 8 regions that night, including 4 over Lipetsk. But here's the math they chose not to mention. They traded a $1 million missile for $15,000 worth of Ukrainian plastic, and more than half the swarm was still airborne. 3 Baba Yagas still hovered in the darkness. 13 FPV attack drones had made it past the fence line and into the kill zone. Russian electronic warfare systems flooded the airwaves with jamming signals. 4 of the smaller drones lost their control links and crashed into the snow. But the motherships boosted their relay signal, punching through the interference. This is exactly what the Baba Yaga was designed for: directional antennae and anti-jamming circuitry, keeping the mesh network alive. 9 FPV drones regained control just 100 feet from the workshop roofs. 2 more went down to cannon fire, but 7 made it through the tracers. Multiple drones penetrated auxiliary buildings where lithium-ion cells were stored. The batteries began thermal runaway, a chain reaction generating its own heat and oxygen, virtually impossible to extinguish. And then something extraordinary happened. One damaged Baba Yaga, spinning out of control from battle damage, didn't just crash. The pilot aimed the dying mothership directly at the Panzer S-1 that shot it down. 55 kilograms slammed into a $15 million air defense system at terminal velocity. Both destroyed instantly. 1 Baba Yaga remained. Every searchlight in the garrison was hunting for it. Every AK-12, every machine gun, every surviving air defense system focused on this single target. The pilot dove to 40 feet and accelerated to 80 miles per hour, screaming across the factory complex at rooftop level. Too low for missiles, too fast for accurate fire. A soldier with a man-pads got a lock. The infrared missile streaked past, missing by 3 feet, its seeker confused by burning buildings. The pilot didn't flinch. 1 target: the ventilation intake of the main lithium production hall. The Baba Yaga didn't hit the wall, it went inside. The chemical fire was catastrophic. Lithium batteries in thermal runaway exceed 1,000 degrees Celsius. The blaze warped the building's steel foundation. The primary production line, supplying batteries to the 9mm 723 Iskander, the KH-47 M2 Kinjal, the UMPK kits, was structurally compromised, disabled for the foreseeable future. Ukraine invested $150,000, 4 Baba Yagas, 20 FPV kamikazes, plywood decoys. Damage inflicted hundreds of millions in production capacity, every Iskander waiting for batteries, every Kinjal incomplete, every UMPK that can't be finished. Delays measured in months, possibly years. Operators piloting drones through FPV goggles accomplished what would have required an aircraft squadron a generation ago. Russia spent billions on defenses. Ukraine spent the cost of a Tesla to burn it down. The age of expensive conventional warfare is ending. The age of the swarm has begun. What happens when Russia's missile production grinds to a halt? How will they respond to a threat they don't fully understand? That story is being written, one drone at a time.